Welcome. In this video, I will show you how we can create a model that updates the parameters of the component that has triggered the model in real time. First, we have to install package blazor.model, which Chrysanthi has created, and he is very knowledgeable, so check him out. You will certainly learn a lot. I have a link in the description to the GitHub documentation and also his blog. I have to add Blazor model to the service collection. Here in the host CSHTML Razor page, I have to add the CSS file and also the JavaScript file. The exact steps are also outlined in the linked post. So that's CSS. Then here the JavaScript. Here I also will change the linked bootstrap file. I will just so that I will delete the references to the bootstrap file and also the CSS file that Microsoft built for us, and link a new one just so that you then also see at the end of the tutorial how we can change the styling a bit. So that's a new one. I also have a link to this in the description. That's just, of course, a free bootstrap theme. Now let's go into the fetch data component. This is the component that is going to trigger our model. Therefore, we have to inject a type of iModel service into it, call it model. And when do we want to change or to trigger the component? Whenever a user comes in here and clicks a row in the table, one click, I call the method show, and it will take a weather forecast as an argument. So I have to define the method here. It doesn't return anything. Void public void show weather forecast, call it weather. Now in here, for the model to work, we first have to create a component that is getting displayed as the model. I am creating a new Razor component and call it change component. Now, title change the temperature. So the goal would be that we can change the temperature over this model. This component takes two parameters. The first one is the weather forecast we want to change by changing, as I said, just the temperature changing. So weather forecast, call it weather forecast, and also we expect an action so that we can communicate the changes back to the calling component, in this case the fetch data component. Let's display the current temperature to the user, current temperature. And here, of course, we have to create a button. Increment temperature by 1. Style it. Whenever this button is getting clicked, we have to register a method for the event handler to then invoke it, call it increment. It increments the temperature of the weather forecast, and it also invokes the delegate instance update. Here just call increment. So let's go back to the fetch data component. Here we have to not only to show the model, we also have to give it the parameters. I named them params. Okay, now that's a keyword, just with 2s. New modal parameters. Params add. Now this expects a string and then a value that is stored in an object, and the string is of the property of the change component. So change component weather forecast. And here we pass, no, here we pass the weather in. Here I define an action which just updates our component, and I am passing this action in. Just here I have to substitute it with update, and then I can, over the injected type of type iModal service, show the change component, give it a name, change temperature. I think I have also set this in the component, so we have maybe have it 2 times, but it doesn't really matter. And here are the params. Now I have changed the styling a bit, so I have to come in here into the main layout. The nav menu doesn't make any sense because I've deleted the CSS. I have deleted the link to the CSS file. Just style it with padding 2. Add the body in here. Now, because we don't have a navigation menu, the index file is going to be loaded, and it's the only file that is going to be seen. So in here, I'm just adding the counter and also fetch data. The counter is just for illustration purposes so that we have a bit more markup. Now it should work. Let's have a look. Okay, there was an error, the name body. Okay, I misspelled body here. Okay, I go to, okay, this doesn't work. Why is it not working? Of course, here in the app component, I have to wrap everything in the modal, how is it called? Modal, cascading Blazor model. Cascading Blazor model here. So now it should work. Okay. It doesn't work. Why is that? Okay, I've just realized that I've here 2 times the Blazor JavaScript. Of course, I have to reference the JavaScript from the Blazor model and not this one. So now it should work. So, okay, still doesn't work. Okay, so I quickly went over the code. Here I'm passing weather, but I have to pass the action. And now I promise it should work. So when we pass the wrong parameters, yeah, it doesn't work. Now we see current temperature 26 Celsius. Also look here. So I increment it here, and it's getting displayed in real time here on the left hand side. Now you see everything is gray in the background. How can we fix this? So here we have to look at the elements. So this has to do with the model. Now here we have 2 classes. That's the actual model, and that's the background. The background has a C index of 101, of course, and the model has C index of 102. So we know the background is in the, yeah, we know sure that this is the background. Now I want to style it also a bit. Do this here just on the page. I copy in the class. Here I have on my right hand side copied the styling that I want to apply, and I want to style it in this minty green way. So this just goes to show that you don't have to settle with the default gray styling. You can also, yeah, of course, do whatever you want with it, and it's I think, yeah, it's a great library. Yeah, thank you very much for your attention.